Okay, so hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. This is your mentor, Dr. Murva, and I'm going to be taking the lectures for this meta-analysis. So before we start our second lecture, I just want to request everyone to turn on their cameras because this is one of the requirements of the lecture. Okay, so we're gonna just have a quick recap what we discussed yesterday, right? So we discussed regarding what are the different types of, scientific evidence that we have, and then what is the difference between systematic reviews and meta-analysis. We discussed a little bit about the forest plot. Then we saw what are different steps to conduct a systematic review and a meta-analysis. And then we discussed how can you build up on a topic. So there was a at one end I showed you like you can follow just simple 5 steps and kind of build on them, but when once you reach an expert level, you can definitely read up a journal of whatever of kind that you like, and then you can pick up a topic and then you search on it. So again, selecting a topic is kind of technical, yes, but once you reach a certain level it becomes easier for you as well. All right. And then I think we discussed regarding the abstract. So I created a poll, and most of you were of opinion that you wanted to have the abstract submitted at 25th of February, which I think is a good option because the chance of getting it accepted will become higher than if we go late by 25th of March. All right. So now I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna start a lecture. Okay, so if anybody can confirm if you are able to view my screen.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. So we will start with what was the research top. Okay, I think somebody raised their hand. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay. No problem. Okay, so our topic was neuroprotective potential of minocycline in acute ischemic stroke. This is an updated systematic review and meta-analysis of the clinical outcomes, right? So this was a research topic that we made. And then what I want you to, I want you guys to let's just go through a systematic review and a meta-analysis. So, you guys will be, you can better appreciate what is the difference between a systematic review and a meta-analysis, all right? So right now in front of me, I have a systematic review. You can have a look at the safety and efficacy of zavegepant in treating migraine, right? And this is a systematic review. And if we scroll down, you can initially see the abstract. What is an abstract? Abstract is basically a brief summary of everything that is present in your that happened in your paper. So let's suppose someone wants to know what actually happened in your paper. They will just go through the abstract and then they will have pretty much everything, pretty much information about what happened, and then if they want to continue your paper in detail, right? So this is abstract, which is the brief summary of every thing that happened in your paper, followed by the keywords are basically how your paper can be found, or what are the different specific words that you used in your paper, right? Followed by the introduction and the background, right? What is introduction and background? You basically have here you are introducing your topic, you are introducing the field it belongs to, you are introducing whatever the drug you're going to discuss and why are you doing this research and everything. So it's a bit a kind of introduction and you are giving the background as the heading itself indicates. So I just want you guys to know that this is a systematic review, right? Systematic review means it is going to be just a review, so it is not going to involve any analysis, any data of any kind. This is just you guys going through certain papers, collecting the information from them and putting it together in a form of a review, right? Review means you revisited the information and then kind of build it up in a different way. So instead of someone going through 5 papers, you made it together into a one paper, so they don't have to read 5 papers so they can just be good with the one that you published. So here we have the review. Review basically starts with the materials and methods. First thing is the search strategy. Then you can see this is a Prisma. So I'm going to go into the detail. I just want you guys to have a quick overview of everything. So we have this Prisma. We have Prisma in both systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Then we have the eligibility criteria. We have study selection. We have data extraction. Then you have the baseline characteristic. What was the participant flow? What was the mean age? And everything. What was the outcome that you were looking into? Then you have the risk of bias. You will be doing in systematic review and meta-analysis. Then you have the outcomes. Then you have the results. As you can see, they have, the results they have mentioned as a pharmacokinetics and efficacy. So this is just pretty much, and then they have a discussion. So this is a systematic review, right? So then if we switch up to a meta-analysis, this is, I have a meta-analysis in front of me, just the efficacy and tolerability of fenfluramine in patients with Dravet syndrome. This is a meta-analysis, right? So we're going to have a look what a meta-analysis looks like. So again, they have an abstract, which is again a brief summary of everything. But I just want you guys to have a look that how, wait, just, okay. I want you guys to have a look at the abstract. So here at the abstract, you can see that you can hardly see any numbers other than this April 2023, right? This is all about the qualitative and the words and everything. But if you look at the abstract of this meta-analysis, you can see a lot of numbers here. You can see the confidence interval. You can see, they have a p-value here, and then you can see, percentages and everything. So there's a striking difference between a meta-analysis systematic review. Why? Because meta-analysis is more of a quantitative. You have values and you have percentages, you have different values involved than the systematic review. All right. Then again, if you go down, introduction was the same. Then we have methodology is pretty much the same, right? The eligibility, study selection, outcomes, and data synthesis. Then you have the results. And then I think this is the Prisma. Prisma is going to be the same as well, right? But then you can see how many numbers are involved. You can see numbers everywhere, right? So that's why when they say meta-analysis are in the highest category of the scientific evidence, because they provide you results percentage by percentage. They are not just, they're just not words written by someone. They are giving you the evidence that it is backed up by something, by certain percentages. All right. So if we move further, so here you go. You can see that in a systematic review, you didn't saw any forest plot, but here we have the forest plots. Not only one, two, in fact, we have three, four forest plots here. Forest plot is the characteristic of a meta-analysis, right? Okay, so if we scroll all the way down, then we have the discussion and everything. So you can see, you just saw that there was pretty much same systematic review and meta-analysis, but what was a striking difference first in the abstract, because in the abstract of a systematic review, most of it was more word based, and in the meta-analysis it was backed up by certain percentages and many numbers were involved. And second difference was it has the forest plot. The meta-analysis had the forest plot and systematic review don't have a forest plot. So that is a second difference. That's how you can differentiate between the two. Now we are going to discuss the birds a little more in detail today, right? So moving forward, the first thing is the introduction, right? So whenever you are writing the introduction, again, we are going to have a separate lecture on how to write the paper, right? But just to give you an idea, so whenever you write the introduction, you have to move from general toward the more specific. When I say general, it means that you start with your broad topic, in our case, which is the acute ischemic stroke, and then you have to build it up on the way, all the way why you chose minocycline for the minocycline for the neuroprotective potential, right, in the acute ischemic stroke. So if I give you an example, we have if you look at the introduction, so they how they have started with the Dravet syndrome, right? You can see that. Yeah, they have started with something which is very broad, Dravet syndrome, and then they have narrowed it down all the way to the Sterpental and flufenamine, you can see that these are the FDA approved medications. So, they have kind of built upon them. So, whenever you are writing the introduction, you have to move from something that is very generous toward the specific. You have to build on it. You have to basically show them how you came up with that topic, right? So, if you are, if you are, let's suppose, discussing a disease, right? So you go from definition to epidemiology to pathophysiology to clinical presentation to complication in a disease. But if you are discussing a drug, which is basically in our case, which is aminocycline, right? So what you're going to be doing is you will be discussing the acute ischemic stroke, a little bit of regarding the epidemiology, right? What is the different complication in treatment, and then you have to introduce your drug, which is going to be aminocycline. So you have to discuss your class of drug, what is its mechanism, what is the clinical use, what is the adverse effect, and you know um how we basically want to know what is the neuroprotective potential of minocycline, right? But in the end, you do have to mention the rationale. What is the rationale is why are you doing this research in the first place? In our case, we are doing it is rationale to know if minocycline has a neuroprotective potential, right? In this case, you can see that if they have mentioned, okay, so this is their rationale. So they wanted to state that evidence-based data on the efficacy and tolerability of fenfluramine in children with Dravet syndrome is exceeded to high quality controls and a few observational. So they wanted to do it, right? So that's how you do the introduction, right? Again, it's very general towards the specific. You don't have to worry about it. We are gonna have a more detailed lecture. Just I wanted to, when you are looking at the introduction, what you are basically looking at. They will start with something general and then they will move toward the more specific. Second thing is the methodology section. This is one of the most technical part. After the results, right? So again, in the search start, it has like different steps. It has the first step is the search methodology, again, because we have to find our papers, or what like the one we are going to run the analysis on. So it start with the search methodology, then we have to define our eligibility criteria, right? We need to have, certain points with us that okay, this paper qualifies for our research and this doesn't. And then third one is it could be like the study selection, and we perform the bias, and then you work on your outcome. So these are the four things that we mainly discuss in the methodology section, right? The first thing is the which databases you guys are going to use. Okay, so the first thing that we discuss is regarding the databases. So in your case, you guys will be doing the PubMed, you will be doing the Ambase, you will be doing the Cochrane, you will be doing the you will be doing the Scopus, yes. So you guys will be doing the Scopus as well, and you have the clinical trials government as well. And then you have when was the search conducted, you have to do the certain time filters, and then you use the Prisma. So we're gonna have a certain we're just gonna look at it. So in the methodology section, they have search started with the search methodology, all right? And you can see that they have defined their objectives, okay? So then they have discussed the eligibility of studies. So first we have to talk about the search methodology. In the search methodology, I discuss about what is a databases. So for the people who have done already some kind of research, you guys will be pretty much know what is a database. But for those who didn't, don't know, databases is basically the website where you have all the published papers. Where any kind of paper you want to find, you just go to these databases, and you just enter your search query, right? And then it generates you tons of it generates you all the papers that are basically published. So the first one we have a PubMed, which is basically one of the most reliable one, right? And that's how the PubMed looks like. You're just gonna type in the Google the PubMed, and it's gonna take you to PubMed, right? So PubMed has different option. This is a simple search option, and then this is the advanced option which we will be using today, right? For to make our search string. But just to give you an idea how we basically run the search and how it basically looks like. So I'm gonna write acute ischemic stroke here. Okay. This is just us running a simple search. Okay, so when I write acute ischemic stroke, you can see that it generated us around 1,27,600 results, right? So that is the number of that is the number of results or the papers it retrieved for us. On the left side you can see that there are certain time frames or the filters that we can apply. This is just a simple one for it has given us paper from 1957 to all the way to 2026. Now of course we won't be needing this 1957 one, so you can just easily drag it all the way to maybe if you want to do in the last 10 years. Ideally you are going to be doing the last 5 years. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag it to 2020. So, if you just drag it, you can see that from the 1 lakh 20 something results, we have generated, we have narrowed it down to 55,000 results. Again, if you scroll down, you can see that if you want to, retrieve the papers through the publication date, if you want to have the free full text, if you want to just have the abstract, and then if you are just looking for the clinical trials, meta-analysis, RCTs, review, and systematic review, so you're just gonna it's again up to you. For example, if I click on free full text, along with I want to see all the RCTs, the randomized controlled trial. So you can see that from 55,000, I have narrowed it down to 898 results, which is again a huge number just in 5 seconds or so. So that's how you create, you can do your search as well, just to have a look at the papers, how many papers we have available, because you always search your preliminary search, right? Second database is the PubMed. PubMed takes the priority. Then we have the Cochrane Library as well. So for the Cochrane Library, it's that this is how it basically looks like. And then you can search for trials, and this is they have the reviews as well. Okay, so what you have to do is you just have to sign in with your you just have to simply log in, right? Sign in, and that's gonna take you to Cochrane Library. Just make sure that you are in the Cochrane Library, not in the other Cochrane website. Okay. The third is gonna be the Google Scholar, which is not a favorite of so many, but again, it's a database. It's one of the huge database that is basically available. So when this should be your last resort. So let's suppose if you're not able to find anything anywhere, your last resort should be Google Scholar, because Google Scholar has extensive that is one of the extensive database. So if you just write acute ischemic stroke here, right? So it's gonna generate me around, okay, it has many zeros. You can see that, right? It's more than the one that we retrieved in the PubMed. So you can see it is one of the most extensive, database. Again, this should be your last resort, right? And other than that, we have, the Scopus. So unfortunately, my institution don't have the access to the Scopus, right? But it's again the same database. Then you have the Embase. Embase is just the favorite of everyone. You can say it's just the master of the the databases, but Embase is paid. So that is just one of the limitation of the Embase, right? But if you have an access to it, this just does wonders for you. It's just one of the easiest database to use. All right, so this is about the databases, right? Then second question is, when was the search conducted, right? So for example, if you are doing the search today, so you're just going to put the date you did the search on 22nd of February. Then did you use the time filters? Yes, we definitely want to, keep the time frame for for the last 5 years. And then we use the Prisma. We are going to be discussing the Prisma in detail, but I just want you guys to have a look at the Prisma, how the Prisma looks like. So this is the Prisma, right? This is the Prisma flowchart. And don't worry, you won't be making it the boxes. Everything is available. I just have to fill in the numbers here. Why we use the Prisma? Because you have, when you'll be running the preliminary search, is the number of the articles that you're going to retrieve, you're going to put it in here. So you're going to have a clear idea that how your screening is going on. So for example, you generated around 107 result from PubMed, 16 from Cochrane, from 4 from clinical trials. So you removed 14 duplicates. That leaves you with 127. Then after you remove the duplicates, you have 113. Then you again screen it. So then you exclude 95. Why? Because they weren't according to your inclusion criteria. Then you do the full text screening, which is the secondary screening, and then you have like 18, and out of 18 you selected 6. So this gives you a very clear idea like how your screening is going. So you fill up as you are moving through the screening process. All right. Then okay, so that concludes the search methodology. Second thing will be the eligibility criteria. So of course we could not include the 55,000 papers that we generated. So we need to define what kind of papers are we looking for. So we create our inclusion and exclusion criteria. We'll be discussing that in the next lecture. I just want you guys have a just a rough idea. So we made the inclusion criteria to clearly define which articles will be included in our screening process, and then which articles will be excluded, and then the one who will be excluded, why we are basically excluding them. Because when you will be running the preliminary search, you're going to find the articles will be very close to each other. So you just have to have a very clear idea which papers to include and which paper to exclude, right? Then after that, you have a study selection and bias. Who performed the screening? Again, you all will be doing the screening, no doubt. And then how was the data extracted? We have the whole lecture for that. And then how was the bias checked? What is basically a bias? So bias is something that looks like this, right? So this is the risk of bias. We basically check the quality of the studies. You can see that on the left side they have mentioned the studies, and then they have certain domains like D1, D2, D3. They have certain set of questions that you answer, and if you get the overall, in this positive, this green one, it means your study has a good quality. It is going to give you a less bias. And then if it gives you, this yellow thing, you may or may not include it, but it gives you a red one, you just need to exclude it, right? Why we do it? We because we need to decrease the bias as less as possible, because we don't need any discrimination in our results. Because if you include the papers who have a high risk of bias, right, it's gonna distort your results. So that's why we run a risk of bias as well. We're going to be teaching you everything, so you don't need to worry about it. I just want you guys to have a general idea, and then in the end we are going to define the outcomes, which I am not going to tell you right now. Why? Because that's going to create a bias. So you will be doing the screening yourself, and then you will come to know like how to how to pick up the outcomes, right? Then you write the results. You again put the forest plots, then you pull the results and then you show them. Then you have a discussion where you summarize your results. It is one of the essential part of your paper as well. You compare with the studies published, and then you identify the differences, and then you put the conclusion, right? Again, so that was about the systematic reviews, a little bit in-depth review how it actually looks like. So before we jump into the PICOs, if anybody has any question, you can just unmute yourself.
Yes, I have. Is it like Cochrane, that what the library is free, like anyone can have it, or we need to have a university access or student access? Like you need to have some institute attached to it, or you just anyone can have the email, login with
Yes,
the
yes,
email.
Cochrane is free. Yes, you just need to just sign in through your email. That's all. The Scopus is paid
And
and Embase is paid. Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, so now we will be entering in technical parts of the paper. So till now we just discussed everything. Now hopefully everyone here will know what are the different parts of a systematic review and a meta-analysis, right? How it basically looks like, what is the basic difference, and what are different components. And if you are looking at different components, what it means. And then it doesn't mean we are gonna just have a rough idea about it. We're gonna have a deep lectures about each and everything, but just an idea. Now you know what a systematic review and meta-analysis look like. Now the second thing is gonna be, because the first thing that we discussed in our methodology is databases, and then you have to run your search. So in order for you to run your search, you need to define your PICOs. Now what is a PICOs is just basically the first term of the terms that are basically here. So P stands for the population, I stands for the intervention, C stands for the comparator, O stands for the outcomes, and S for the study designs, right? Now, what does they are pretty much self-explanatory. The PICOs we basically made in order for you to have a clear protocol of your study, right? So you are basically very clear in your mind what you're basically going for, and the PICOs is gonna help you make your search string, right? Which we'll be discussing um, subsequently. So what does it's basically a self-explanatory. So without jumping into the next just have just try to visualize it yourself. So what is our population in this case? Our population is people that have the acute ischemic stroke, right? So you make the picos based on your title. So population in our case is the acute ischemic stroke. What is the intervention that we are using? Is the minocycline. What is the comparator we are using? We are using the placebo, right? And what are the outcomes? We are not going to define the outcomes. Why? Because it's going to create the bias, right? So you're going to have the outcomes after you do the preliminary screening, and then the study designs. In our case, we are going to include the clinical trials. All right, so that's how you define the PICOs. So if I jump in, what was again the population? Population is acute ischemic stroke with the intervention as aminocycline. We have the comparator placebo, and outcomes are not gonna we are not gonna define it here. And then you have the study design, which is gonna be the trials. All right. So this is just a different, this is just a diagram to kind of show you how we basically build up on it. So you can see that we started something which was very broad, acute ischemic stroke. Then we have the minocycline, which is the intervention. Then we have the placebo, which is a comparator, and then the study designs. We have the clinical trials for it, and that's how we basically build up on our PICOs. You don't need to make it, and yeah. So before we jump into the PICOs, just a little bit two different things that I want you to discuss with you guys is the first thing will be the mesh, right? What is the mesh? Mesh is, so we're gonna come back to the PICOs in a minute, but before that, we're just gonna have a quick conversation regarding the mesh. So what is a mesh? Mesh is the medical subject heading. It's a kind of an Oxford dictionary for the people who do research or who are in the medicine, right? They are the standardized terms used by the PubMed or Medline, right? In order to simplify it for you, it means that I have done a paper and I have put the acute ischemic stroke as acute ischemic stroke. But you have done a paper and then you put the same thing as acute ischemic strokes. Now the simple S that you put in your paper, right? If I don't, put that S in my search string, there is a possibility that I am going to miss on your paper. So what they did, so they found a solution, they built a website. They were like, if you put just an entry term, this is going to give you all the possible relative terms other people have used, so you don't miss out on that paper, right? So what they made a website. So you just simply write mesh and the word, and then you click on this mesh, right? So it's gonna take you to their website. One thing I was just having a very hard time with this website today. I don't know why, but hopefully it's gonna work, right? Okay, we have done this. Okay, hopefully it's gonna open. So this is basically, you can say the synonyms, different peoples have used for the same terminology. So what they have done, they have created this website, and then after you put it, after you put the term there, it retrieves you all the relevant terminologies, which we name them as the entry terms. Right? Yeah, you can see that it was giving me a very hard time. This website, I don't know what's the problem. Okay, so let's just continue with this. So you can see that don't worry, it doesn't look like this. It's a very good website. I don't know what happened to this website today. So this is a search database mesh, and then we are gonna just add the acute ischemic stroke here. All right. So if I click on the search, hopefully it's gonna retrieve me. Okay, it's taking its time. So let's just move on to the next thing, and hopefully it will have loaded by then. Second thing that I want you guys to discuss with you is the Boolean operators. The Boolean operators is something that we use in our search string, right? What is a search string? Search string will be you generating this whole, string that you will be using for the preliminary search. We'll be doing that in a minute, so you don't have to worry. Just understand the concept, like how to use the Boolean operators. There are three core Boolean operators, right? The first one is and, second one is or, and the third one is not, right? So this is just you using the and, or, and not, or different combinations of word in order to generate the results that you want, right? The first thing is and basically narrows the search, right? Retrieve articles containing all the selected items, right? It is used to link different concepts. I have used an example of this autoimmune polyglandular syndrome. I want to discuss APS and immunogenetics, and I want all those papers who have discussed APS and immunogenetics, right? So if I put and in between in my search string, it is going to generate me all the papers who have discussed APS and immunogenetics along with immunogenetics as well. So the paper will contain these both terminologies, right? That's how we use and. So whenever you want, let's suppose you are using the acute ischemic stroke and you want the paper to discuss minocycline as well. What you're gonna use and simple, right? So that is so when you want to generate a paper who discuss basically the two things together at the same time, so you just put the Boolean operator and. Second thing is or is going to broaden the search, right? And then it is going to retrieve the articles containing the selected items. It is used to combine the synonyms or the related terms, right? And then or is broadly used when you are basically using the mesh, right? So, for example, somebody has used the word polyendocrinopathies instead of APS. Now, these both are the same thing, right? Someone have used the word autoimmune polyglandular syndrome, but some person has used the polyendocrinopathies. Now, there was a possibility that if I didn't use this word, I'm gonna miss out on this paper. So what I do is I put APS or polyendocrinopathy, so I don't miss out on this paper. And second thing, it is going to so you basically you put the or when you are when you're using the synonyms of the same thing, right? So it is going to basically broaden the search for you. So if you want to narrow your search, you will be using the and if you want to broaden your search, you want to generate more results, so you will be using the as synonyms as you can. But if you want to, the papers to discuss two different things, three different things, four different things together, you put and it's going to, concise the search for you. Then the third thing is not. So it's very self-explanatory. It says if you have to exclude any unwanted terms, you can use the Boolean operators. So if for example, if you want to discuss APS, but you don't want any pediatric paper to get retrieved, so you're gonna put not. So that's how simply you can use the Boolean operators and, or, and not. So let's just quickly go back to our mesh. Hopefully they will have retrieved. No. Okay, I'm just gonna try one more time, but if it doesn't happen, I want you guys to open the mesh in front of you, right? And then let me know what it generates because it just was giving me a very hard time today for some reason. Okay, so before it loads, if anybody has any question regarding what we discussed just now. Okay, so it isn't, loading. So what I want you guys to go to the search bar on the Google. Okay, just follow along with me and write mesh in the Google and let me know when you guys do that. Mesh and then click the first website that pops up.
Yeah, done. What do you want us to type?
Yeah, is everybody on the same page?
Yeah, it's working.
Yes, okay. I think it's working on your side. So then just put in the search term acute ischemic stroke. Yes, it's gonna give you, not gonna exactly give you acute ischemic stroke, but just the word ischemic stroke, the first thing that pops up. Did you guys saw that? Acute ischemic stroke?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then click on the first thing that pops up, the ischemic stroke. Just click on that and let me know when you guys are done. Okay, are you guys on that? So if you scroll down, you can see there will be a small heading which will be written as entry terms. Can you guys see that? Entry terms?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can see it.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So these are the entry terms. These are the basically the synonyms or the different words that have been used for this, the word the acute ischemic stroke by different people. So if you would have, just used the acute ischemic stroke, there was a high possibility that you are going to miss out on all these papers who have used these entry terms. All right. Okay, so that is the purpose of using the mesh. Now you will be using the mesh for the acute ischemic stroke. You will be using the mesh for the word minocycline. You will be using the mesh for the placebo, and then you will be using the mesh for clinical trials. Now you don't have to do it all by yourself because I have already, prepared that with me. So Mm, before I switch up to the other, other slides, just want to have a question. Is everybody clear on the things that we discussed? Okay, that's great.
I
Okay,
think
so
I
I'm
found
going
the entry
to,
terms. I mean, I can find the mesh. I'm going to, yeah, I
sorry.
can find the entry terms. I found a schemic thing and acute schemic thing in Match, but you told something about the entry terms. I cannot find that.
No, so when you search acute ischemic stroke, right, the first thing that pops up, it's gonna say ischemic stroke. And then you're gonna click
Yes.
on it, you're gonna scroll down a bit, and there will be a small heading that will say entry terms. Just scroll down. There will be a long list of, different words. Are you not able to find it? Can somebody just share the screenshot in the group? Just share a screenshot. Okay, let me see. Hopefully mine will work. Okay. So, did you find the entry terms? No, you didn't? Okay, okay, wait. Can somebody share the screenshot? Okay, I'm gonna send you the screenshot. Okay, myself. So everybody saw the entry term. The rest of you saw the entry terms, right? Are we clear on that? Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, somebody raised their hand. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so just a quick question. So we found the entry terms.
Mm-hmm.
So are these helpful for us to search within the article, or
No,
I didn't.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
so
I
that's
I'm
the
going. Yes,
thanks.
I'm just moving there. Okay.
I
So,
got it. Yeah.
oh
Thank
God,
you. I
that's
got it.
great. That's great. Okay. Next will be this is very odd. I mean, this usually doesn't happen, but let just me open the. Okay. So, in order for you to have, a very clear cut search strategy, right? So what you guys do is you fill up this PICO's table, right? I have made it for myself for my researches, and I will be sharing with you guys. So it basically gives you a very, clean and organized way of you running the search, right? So if you just look at the table, I'm going to share this document in the group, and this is the task for today. Everybody is supposed to fill this table. Everybody is supposed to put the search string here and then send it in the group, right? Okay. before we jump into the table, so PICOs, again, of course, it says PICO, so it's going to have population, intervention, comparator, outcome, study types, and then we, on the left, we have our mesh terms, right? And then we have our entry terms. What is meant by the mesh and entry? So mesh are the words that you searched on the search bar. In your case, you guys just searched the acute ischemic stroke. That was the mesh term. But when you scroll down, you saw certain terms which were the synonym of the mesh terms. Those were the entry terms. So you're going to put the mesh terms here, and then you're going to put the entry terms here. And then we are going to build up on the search query, which I'm going to show you how. So because I was already aware that the mesh website is going to give up on me, so I have already prepared the PICO's table here, right? Now I'm not going to share it with you. You guys are going to do it yourself. What I have done is I have just like I told you how to search the word ischemic stroke, right? The same way you have to search the minocycline, the same way you have to search the placebo, the same way you have to search the clinical trial, right? So we are not defining outcomes right now. Okay. So when you put the mesh term ischemic stroke, everybody saw that you saw all these entry terms, right? I hope everybody saw these entry terms, all of these. Can somebody confirm?
Yeah, these
Yes,
guys are.
Yeah, definitely you saw that. Okay, that's great. So these were the entry terms that you guys saw, right? Similarly, when you put them, you can if you have the mesh open in front of you, you can follow along with me as well. So if you put the word minocycline, the first thing that pops up with the minocycline, which is a tetracycline, right? It's gonna give you all the entry terms regarding the minocycline, right? And we have all these different terms being used for minocycline. Then if you in the comparator, we don't have any comparator, so we are using the placebo, right? So if you just write the term placebo, it's going to give you an entry term of the sham treatment. We are not defining any outcomes, so outcomes, it's going to go like this. And then for the study type, we are going for the clinical trials. And then if you put the mesh term clinical trials, you're going to have this intervention study as an entry term, right? So if you I'm not going to be sharing it with you again. So that will be a task for you today. So I just want to have an idea how it's going to basically look like. Now we are going to build our search query. Now why we basically do the PICO's table? Because certain journals, if it is a very good journal, they basically ask you for this PICO's table and then for your search strings. But then mostly it's for your own ease, because you are able to just quickly copy paste all of your start string here. So now we are going to generate the search string. We will be starting with the PubMed. Okay. So now I want everyone to please pay attention to the screen. Okay. And if I go back on the PubMed, okay. So it says this is the PubMed, and when I told you guys we can use either this simple search bar, or for the advanced one, we can use this advanced feature here. So I'm gonna click on this advanced, right? So it's gonna basically bring me here. Now you can see here you put the search term. Here you have the Boolean operators that we just discussed, and, or, and not. And here your search query is gonna appear, and then here you're gonna search it, right? Okay, so we will be starting with the first. So I'm going to close this one and then open this one. We are gonna be starting with our population. Our population was ischemic stroke. So it is a very tedious process, just a disclaimer. So I'm gonna put the ischemic stroke. I'm gonna click on add. Just a quick tip: if you are going, in the same column, you use or. But if you use across the row, you use and. So if I use any term in this column, I'm gonna use and then if I'm gonna use ischemic stroke, and then I use a term from this column, this is basically across the column, you are gonna use and. Okay. So first of all, this is the ischemic stroke, and then I'm going to click on this ischemic stroke, right? What I just said, if you use in the same column, you use the or. Similarly, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna put it like this. So I'm not, I won't be, so you will be constantly, adding with it, or I'm not going to add all of these because this is your task. I am going to just add 4 of them, right? I'm gonna be adding them with or. So what your task is when you will be running, making the search string, you have to use all these terms. Okay. I want you guys to use all these terms all the way till here because we are short on time. The lecture is only of 1 hour. So I just have to use the first 3. So for the population, we are running the search now, right? What we did, we used the ischemic stroke, which was a mesh term, and then we added with or because we were going in the same column. So I'm going to click on search. It has generated me a lot of results, very explanatory. Why? Because we haven't used all these terms. So if I had used all these terms, I would have a bit less of results. Now I'm gonna, okay, you have a question. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Uh, why wouldn't you just use search with the mesh term?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
You can like search with the mesh term instead of going or like you just put mesh in square brackets. That's why they exist. So you can search them all at once.
Okay,
Put mesh.
okay. Okay, that is how the way I do it, but if that's how you're comfortable with, you can definitely do that with as well, right?
Yeah. It's just that's why they make the mesh terms. So you can, because if you do ischemic stroke square brackets
Mm-hmm.
mesh, all of
Mm-hmm.
those key terms get searched for. That's why that's why mesh terms exist. So it groups everything
Yes,
so you can
yes,
search it all at
exactly.
once.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said as well. Yep. So we did the mesh for the population, right? And then again, for the intervention, we will be doing the same thing for the minocycline, right? We're gonna be adding the minocycline with minosin. If you are moving in the same column, we use the or, right? We'll be doing the across the column as well. So yeah, the 3, and then we're gonna add the minosin hydrochloride. All right, so we're gonna add or, and then we're gonna search. Again, it has generated us a lot of results, which again is pretty explanatory because you will be using the every search thing. Then we are gonna do the same for placebo. For the placebo, you will be using the sham treatment. Sorry. Search. And then you're gonna go back, and then you're gonna use the clinical trial. Okay. You're gonna add the with or. Okay. So now once you have run the, search for this whole thing, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come back and you're gonna see that we have, we started from here, the acute ischemic stroke, the minocycline, the placebo, and the intervention study. You can see they have generated the results for us. Now we have to build our search query here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on these 3, these dots. I'm gonna click on add query. So it appears here. If I move across, across the column, what I said, we are going to use the and. So I'm going to add it with and. Why? Because we moved like this, right? We put the ischemic stroke and now we are using the minocycline. So we moved like this. So we have used the and, right? And then again, for the placebos, we're going to use the and. And then for the clinical trials, we're going to use with and. Now this is your search string. You copy it, right? And then you paste it here, right? Okay. Now again, this is not the exact one. Why? Because you haven't used all of these, so you are supposed to use all of them, which is basically is going to be a task. So then you click on this search, and it generates you these results. Again, we had the faults in our, so it generated very few results. You're gonna get more results, don't worry, right? When we'll be doing the whole thing. So that's how you run your search for the screening when you're basically making the search string for the using the PubMed. So what is the next step? Once you have generated all these results, what you do is you basically click on this save thing. So when you click on the save thing, you have to click on all the results, right? And all the results in the form of PMID file. And then you click on create file. So it downloads everything for you, right? I have this is here. And then you just export it into the Rayyan or the EndNote, whatever screening, the tool that you basically use. We will be using the Rayyan. So we're gonna basically import it there. So that's how you do the PubMed search string. Does anybody has any question here? Any confusion, anything that you didn't understood how we basically done the search string? Okay, so you will be making the search string with all the entry terms that you'll find on the mesh website. All right.
I
Now,
Sorry, I just wanted to confirm when we go to PubMed Advanced Search Builder, as Gabriel was saying, so if we go to the all fields box and then we scroll down to the mesh terms and then we just write in, for example, ischemic stroke.
yes, I see that.
So could we just do that instead of doing
Yes,
the
as I said, you can definitely do that. But again, it is what I'm teaching is for the beginner level. You are a bit on the advanced level, you can definitely do that. Whatever you are comfortable with, right? So the one that I'm teaching right now is at the beginner level, so everybody they can follow along. Okay, so that was regarding the PubMed. All right, that's how we build the search string, and I want everyone to send their this document and then put the mesh terms like the search string like this, and then send it in the group. All right. Now, second thing that we'll be discussing is the Cochrane today. Again, we have the Cochrane search string. So what you're gonna do is again go here and start adding these terms, but this is just a little different from the PubMed because you're gonna copy paste and then you click on continue. So it's gonna start generating you the results. Again, for the ischemic strokes. So for the ischemic strokes, you're gonna click on continue. Again, for the stroke ischemic, you're gonna click on the continue. All right, continue. Okay, so you will be basically doing it for this whole thing, right? But once you are done putting every the term, what you do is after that, for example, I have put these three, and then for the fourth, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write #1 space or. Why? Because we are moving in the same column, and then two space or, and then three, right? So it is gonna combine three of them with or, and then I'm gonna click on continue. So it's gonna generate me the results, right? So this is just we doing this for this one column, right? Okay. Then the second thing, hopefully it's gonna work. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, let's just do it again. Okay. Okay, they want us to refresh the page. So it is going to be a very tedious task, but that's how you learn initially. Okay, yes, they have done it for us. So number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Now we will be moving for this one, which is the intervention. This is the minocycline. Again, you will be just adding the minocycline here. Click on continue, right? Then add minosin. Continue minosin MR. Continue. Okay. And yeah, now again, we will be doing the same thing. Hashtag. We now first we combine these three. So of course we wrote 1, 2, and 3. Now we are combining 5, 6, and 7. So we are going to be writing hashtag 5 space or has to be capital. Hashtag 6 space or hashtag 7. And then I'm going to click on continue. So it's gonna combine it for me. Now you don't use placebo. Why? Because placebo, it basically narrows down your search a lot. It's gonna give you very less results, and I'm gonna basically show you how. If I just copy the placebo and I write the placebo here, right? And then I click on placebo. So we have these results. And if I combine, so what we are gonna do is we are gonna now combine the fourth one that we combined, the eighth one that we combined, and the ninth one that we combined, right? So I'm gonna write hashtag 4, and then I'm gonna write and, right? Why? Why? Because we are moving across the column now. Then hashtag 8 and hashtag 9. So it generated us around 2 papers. So do like, of course, we know this isn't the ideal case. We nothing's gonna come out of these 2 papers. So we don't add placebo. So I'm gonna remove this, and I'm just gonna go with 4 and /8, right? The 8th one and the 4th one, and that alone generated us around 39 results. Okay, so the 39 are again are basically fine. So again, you will be doing this everything. You don't have to add this publication type. You just use the population in the intervention here, right? What you do is you're gonna scroll down. You have to save this search, save as. Okay, I'm not logged in for some reason. Okay, so if you have to save as, and then you gonna give it, let's suppose, ischemic stroke, right? You save it, and after you save it, you can view it, and when you can view it again, you can run it, right? From here you can export it. You will be exporting it, and then you can share it as well. This is how you basically save it. And then if you want to run it directly, you're gonna just click on these 39 results, and it is going to take you here, right? So we have all the trials. You can see we have 34 trials, we have reviews, we have protocols. So these reviews and protocols are going to be discarded when you are doing the preliminary research. Ideally you don't, you discard it here when you are at advanced level. I won't be suggesting you to discard it right now. Why? Because again, some of you are at a very beginner level, so include them. So when you are doing the screening, you have a very clear idea what to include and what to exclude, right? So after, you can see we have generated around 34 tries. Very good thing. What you do is, you are gonna select select all 3, right? Okay, so I'm gonna click on the trials, and then you can select all these, and then you're gonna export the selected citation in the form of RIS file, because RIS is supported in the Rayyan. So you're gonna click on download, and it's gonna download the file for you, which we are gonna export it in the Rayyan directly. What it has basically done, it has created the file. It has taken all the files from here, and it has downloaded it. You can see that here we have this, and it can directly, we're gonna put it directly in the Rayyan file, and then all the papers, will be listed from the PubMed, from the, from the Cochrane, from the in the same way you generated from the Scopus, from the Embase, right? So if you guys have the access to Scopus, I can give you the search string, right? Run it, and again download it the same way. You can send it, right, like you can send it in the group for just your own learning purposes, because we already have that. Right now I don't have the access to it, which I'm very apologetic for. But if you don't have the access, that's completely fine, right? The same way you do with the Embase as well. So we can provide you the search string, just put it in the Embase, run the search and download it. So that's gonna do. And once you have created, we have created the file with the PubMed, we have created the file with the Cochrane, right? We have created the file with the Embase, we have created the file with the Scopus. You export it all in the Rayyan, right? And I'm gonna show you, just I need to just log in into my Rayyan. Meanwhile, if anybody has any question, and then I think the lecture went a bit beyond, so we have to conclude it, right? I'm going to send you the document, so you guys have to create your own search strings and then send it in the group. That is going to be the task for today. And then from the next week, we're going to work on the Prosper registration and the screening. So hopefully by the end of next weekend, you guys will be done with the, okay, you guys will be done with the screening process. So I'm going to share my screen again. So if you guys can appreciate, so this is how the Rayyan looks like. Again, you just simply have to log in. Now, please create your Rayyan profile and then share, just with your email, and then share it in the group as well, right? So the other mentor is going to include you. So what we do is, again, I'm teaching you for the future references, because we usually just give you the access. But let's suppose if you want to run your own, on research and everything. So you click on this create review, right? So in our case, for example, I have already generated it for the other groups. So in our case, let's just name it acute ischemic stroke, right? And you just choose the domain. The review type is thematic review, or we're just gonna click on literature review, create new review, and then this supports all of these. So we're gonna select the file. Remember the file that we created from the PubMed. I'm gonna click on it, right? It's gonna upload everything for me. It's gonna upload the articles. Okay, hopefully it will happen by today. So basically it uploads the article for you, and then you go into the screening and you start the screening. But again, we'll be discussing this detail in the next lecture. I just wanted you guys to have, an idea that how, Rayyan works and how you basically create a new file. I don't think so. The internet connection is very poor on my side, so it's not working probably. So again, that was it regarding the lecture for today. So what we discussed so far, we discussed the systematic review and meta-analysis. We saw the differences between them, and then after that we learned about the PICOs, right? And how we do the mesh search, and then put the mesh terms in the PICOs table, and then how you basically form your search string, right? And so the task will be, you have to create your search string on the Cochrane and on the PubMed for the people who don't have access to Scopus and Embase. It's very easy, don't worry. It's not rocket science in the Scopus and Embase as well. So, but for the people who have the access, we can provide you the search string. You can search, you can run it for your own. Otherwise, we have the files ready here with us. And in the next lecture, we will be exporting them into the Rayyan, and then we will start with the screening, and then I'm going to explain to you how we do the screening and everything. So your task has been defined. I'm going to share the document with you. So does anybody has any other question, anything that I didn't understood, or anything in general you want to ask? Please unmute yourself and you can ask.
Hello. Thank you very much for the presentation. Please, for each of them, we are to reduce the years from 2020 to 2026, right? I just wanted to confirm the time frame.
Okay, so yes, you have to keep it within the last 5 years. All right? Yep. Does anybody has any other question?
Just to confirm, when do you want this?
Yeah, so you have the whole week with you, right? Because the next because currently we are working on the abstract, so that's working side by side. So you can take your time. The next lecture is going to be the next Saturday. So before that, you can submit it at any time that you want. This is basically a because I showed you how we basically done it, and I want you guys to do it on hands yourself, so you guys can have an idea how we done the preliminary research. So that way you will have your own search string, you will have your own file, you will basically learn it, and I will recommend please do that, so that you can have guys and have an idea, and then you can run, you can do your future researches independently, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so that will conclude with today's lecture. If anybody has any question, again, I'm available here. You just can tag me in the group, and then I will be more than happy to, assist you guys. I'm gonna share the PICO table with you. Please fill it out, and please, if you don't do these things yourself, you won't understand it, because just staying the lecture is not gonna do any good. All right. Once again, thank you so much everyone for joining, and have a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Yes, so we have a question. Yes, please.
Sorry, quick question. I just remembered. Did you say you want us to finish the Rayyan stage as well this week?
No, no, not the Ryan. You just have to do,
Just
you just
before.
have to make the search string. Bus.
Right. Okay.
That's all. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.